Hi everybody, it's been a long time, feels like forever. I haven't posted a video on our YouTube channel in a while. We usually, in the last few videos, we've been talking about our house and what it's like to build a home in Guanajuato, Mexico. But we kind of took a break from building because I was on a trip to Minnesota with a couple of my little ones. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to share my experience traveling via bus from Guanajuato, Mexico to Minnesota, and then back from Minnesota to Guanajuato, Mexico. It was quite interesting. So if anybody's interested, this would be a great video for you. None of my videos are edited. I just kind of wing it. This is more of like a personal blog. It's not perfect, but I did make some notes of things that I wanted to share with you because I can't remember all the prices for everything, but I wanted to share just in case you are going to be traveling by bus or you want to know what it's like and how affordable it is. This is the video for you. So yeah, I will just get started. I traveled from San Miguel de Allende to Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, and I took an overnight bus, and the bus company that I used was Omnibus Express. Each of our adult tickets were 1,800 pesos, and when I bought them online, and I just have to say that Omnibus Mexico, traveling from San Miguel de Allende to Nuevo Laredo, was wonderful. I highly recommend. It's super affordable. Baggage is super affordable compared to flights. And the trip was really peaceful. The bus was very comfortable. They use a special bus for their overnight runs that have the chairs recline all the way so that you can almost completely lay flat and sleep the whole way if you wish. There was just a couple of stops at the beginning of my journey. The bus left San Miguel de Allende at 7 p.m. and we picked up a couple more people at different stops in the local area like Querétaro. And then after like 11 p.m., it was just a straight shot. So I highly recommend Omnibus Mexico for busing overnight to the border. It was just really, really pleasant. We did get stopped by Mexican immigration one time in the middle of the night, like early morning, and an immigration officer came on the bus and just asked us for our documents. The only document that I carried at that time was my United States passport. So I should have had my tourist visa with me, my tourist visa for Mexico, and I didn't. So I was a little concerned, but there was no concern with that. He was perfectly fine. I think he knew I was heading back, so he didn't ask for anything else. My children, they have their nationality here in Mexico. They're dual citizens, so all they needed was their card, their ID card from Mexico to say who they were. Otherwise, it was super quick. Not a big deal at all. Not like your worst nightmare or your worst thoughts about what could possibly happen. It was just a really, really good trip. We ended up arriving in Nuevo Laredo at 6:45 a.m. and it dropped us off at the central bus station in Nuevo Laredo. And I decided that I wanted to take a taxi across the border and then find the Greyhound bus station and then go from there. And I made this choice because I had some safety concerns, especially bringing my children along. I know some people, there's other options that you can do. You can personally walk across the border. A lot of people say that it's faster, it's easier, it's cheaper. My taxi that was already prearranged was 1,300 pesos from the bus station in Nuevo Laredo over the border and to the Greyhound bus station in Laredo, Texas. So 1,300 pesos. It was a really long taxi ride just because I made the silly mistake of crossing the border on a Monday morning into the United States. And I guess that's really busy on a Monday morning. Lots of people are going back to work for the week. And so it took us about an hour and a half just sitting there waiting in line. But once we got up to the border, we showed our identification through our taxi window. They verified that the children are who I said they are, and then we were on our way. It was super quick. So that was just a really good experience too that I wanted to share. But I do not recommend going from Mexico to the United States on a Monday morning at the border. It was really, really packed. But I do have a great taxi driver that I would highly recommend. He drove quickly, he helped us with all of our bags, he was very kind, very safe. I got a recommendation for him from somebody else that had used him. And like I said, there are safety concerns at the border, so going with somebody that you trust and not just getting in a random taxi is probably the best thing that you should do. What else did I want to share? So the taxi, like I said, was 1,300 pesos, which to me is totally worth it, and I appreciate it. Then we got to the Greyhound bus station, and I didn't know how long our stay was going to be at the border. I didn't know if they wanted to inspect bags or how long it was going to take, so I didn't purchase any bus tickets from Texas to Minnesota because I was scared I was going to miss the bus, because the bus left at 9 a.m. that we needed to get on. And I'm really glad I did that, because we did not make it. So we had to wait until 4 p.m. to get a Greyhound bus to take us to Minnesota. We could have left a little bit sooner and got on another bus and then went to Dallas and then sat in Dallas and had a long layover, but I didn't want to do that. So we waited until 4 p.m. To leave Laredo, Texas, to head on our way to Minnesota. And then it was a really smooth ride after that. Not a lot of stops or anything. So that was my personal choice. But I highly recommend, don't plan or buy your bus tickets, or don't make any plans for after you cross the border until after you've crossed the border, because you just never know. I hear that sometimes the border is super quick, and then other times it takes hours. So just be careful with that. I do want to kind of share my experience with Greyhound real quick with you. In Laredo, I had kind of a bad experience, and so I wanted to warn you. I had already looked at bus tickets from Laredo to Minneapolis online, and I was going to purchase them, but like I said, I was too concerned I wouldn't make it. And I knew they were about $300 for me and my oldest daughter, which is counted as an adult, and then a child and an infant. But when I went inside and I went to purchase tickets in person, there was a sign saying that they weren't taking cards. Their card reader wasn't working, so I had to go to the ATM. Well, I went to the ATM and I got some money and I went back, and the man at the register was like, "Oh, your tickets," after I told him everything, they're like $900, but I'm gonna give you a deal. I'm only gonna charge you $600. And I was like, wait a minute, that does not make any sense. $600 to go from Laredo to Minnesota? No, because I had already done my homework. So I wasn't going for that. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm just going to buy them online. And I went and sat down, and I was a little scared because that was a lot more than I expected. double, right? And so I went to the website on my phone, and sure enough, it was, how much was it? I wrote it down. It was like $309 for 2 adult tickets, a child ticket, and a free infant to ride on my lap. So they were gonna get double from me. And I'm assuming that's why their card reader wasn't working. They're trying to make some extra cash under the table or something. So I can say that I did not have a good experience with Greyhound in Laredo. And I looked online and a lot of people had similar experiences. So I'm sorry I'm taking so long. I'm just gonna go a little bit quicker. It's already been 10 minutes. So anyways, do your homework. Biggest lesson that I learned. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. All right, so from Laredo to Minnesota, it took us 2 days. Greyhound does a lot of stopping, Every other exit, stop, stop, stop. The buses are not as comfortable as Omnibus Mexico overnight bus. There's also questionable people that ride Greyhound. So you have to be a little bit more alert and aware. I mean, always be aware when you're traveling, but that was, new for me. I had never ridden a Greyhound besides in the city, traveling from one block to another. So not as comfortable, lots of stops, and it took a long time. 2 days. We ended up arriving in Minnesota Wednesday morning at like 5:30 a.m. Lots of stops if you wanted to have snacks and stuff like that. That was kind of nice, but it took a long time. And then when I got to Minnesota, obviously I had family come and pick me up from the bus stop and visited with family, and we traveled around. I have family all over Minnesota, so we went and visited and just really enjoyed our stay and spent time with family as much as we could while we were there. That was one of our biggest goals. Also, to work. I went there and I worked. Working was super important for me. A lot of you know that my husband voluntarily deported from the United States to his home country back here in Mexico, but I wouldn't say it was really voluntarily, because he was picked up by immigration and was granted a 1-year stay on a slim chance. And after that 1-year stay, we would have to reapply. And the chances of that being granted were slim to none. So we decided to leave. So I consider us a deported family. We definitely, if we had the choice, we would be in Minnesota. So working, me going back to Minnesota to work was important because here we have an inflatable company here in Guanajuato, Mexico, and because of quarantine, because of lockdowns, because of the COVID stuff, our inflatables are not going out nearly as much as we expected. Also, we're a new business. We have to establish ourselves. We have to get the clientele to trust us and to want to rent our inflatables as well. So we've been struggling with a lot of that, and we needed an income. And I'm a U.S. citizen still, even though my husband was deported. So I have a right to come back and work, and I chose to use that right. We stayed up there for quite a while. We ended up taking some different bus lines to come back that I wanted to just quickly talk to you about. We ended up taking the Tornado bus line this time to head south into Texas, because I didn't really like my experience on Greyhound and I was hoping for something better, and I know that I'm going to continue to make this trip, so I wanted to test out different bus lines to see who I liked and what buses were comfortable and that kind of thing. So we took the Tornado bus line from Minneapolis all the way down to Texas to Dallas, and the Tornado bus that picked us up in Minneapolis was very comfortable, much better than Greyhound. I really enjoyed it, and less stops, not nearly as many stops as Greyhound. I would say like 2 stops per state. Greyhound, 10 stops per state. Big difference. We arrived in Dallas 5 a.m. the next day, and we left at 10 a.m. So we did a day, an overnight, and then we showed up super early in the morning. Like I said, with Greyhound, it took 2 days to get there. Big difference. Also a big difference in price. Greyhound was cheaper to come from Laredo to Minneapolis. It was $310 for 2 adults and a child ticket. Tornado bus lines for 2 adults and a child ticket was $450. So quite a bit different in price, but much more comfortable and a lot faster, which I appreciate, especially having some little ones with me. And the clientele on the Tornado bus was really different too. There wasn't any like scary situations, questionable people that you had to sit by. It was all the Latino community. All of the bus stops that we had from Minneapolis to Texas were all in Latino areas as well. I was the only gringa on the bus. The bus driver spoke Spanish only. Thank goodness my oldest daughter was with. She knows a little bit of Spanish. But no, they were super kind, trying to explain things to me, and it was just a really good experience. There was an extra baggage fee. I brought a lot of stuff from Minnesota back for the rest of my family, and there was a pretty significant baggage fee. I had 3 extra bags and they charged me $70 for them. So that was, I knew I was going to be paying for extra bags, I just wasn't sure how much. So that's how much it ended up being when we got into Dallas. From Dallas, we decided to take Omnibus Express from Dallas all the way to Guanajuato, Mexico. I wanted to know what it was like to take the bus over the border, and it went really good, really quickly. I'll explain. That bus was 2,800 pesos per person and per adult, and the child ticket was like half price. I want to talk about the border. It was really interesting. I had never crossed into Mexico on a bus before, so let me just explain. So you pull up to the border, your bus gets x-rayed, immigration comes on and they check to see who needs to go to the immigration office and who doesn't. So citizens don't need to. All of my kids didn't need to. Lots of people on the bus didn't need to, so that was really nice and quick. There was like 3 of us that needed to go and get visas or other things from immigration to be able to travel into Mexico. So they were really nice about that. And then I went and got my visa while all of the kids stayed on the bus, and then they unloaded the bus. They took everybody off, all of our baggage off, and then we had to bring it inside and have it x-rayed. And then they asked if it was for personal use or for resale. I had, like I said, a lot of bags. I had 7 bags total, and there was only 3 people with bus tickets. So they x-rayed everything. I didn't have to pay for any of it, which I was really surprised. I also didn't have a fee for my tourist visa, which I was really surprised about. We did show up at the border at night in the evening, late in the evening, so I wonder if their bank is closed or why that happened, but there was absolutely no fees for anything. And I know in most cases there should have been. So I don't know what that was, but then we loaded back up on the bus, and then we had like the baggage carriers and immigration and stuff kind of come on the bus and ask for tips. So I was happy to tip because I knew that I should have paid for some of my things anyways. So they asked for tips, and then we drove away to the bus station in Nuevo Laredo where we did a transfer. That wasn't very long, and then we were on our way on another overnight bus with Omnibus Express to Guanajuato. Once again, another really, really good ride. Really good experience, comfy seats. I highly recommend Omnibus. I can't say that enough. Yeah, so it's a really long video with a lot of information, but I just thought I would share because it's really good. Really good stuff. I wish I would have come across a video where it explained someone's experience, because a lot of people are scared. Traveling is stressful, especially when you have children, and to be prepared and to know is better than to just go blind. So yeah, we will be posting more videos on our YouTube channel and sharing our life here in Guanajuato, Mexico with you as things come up. And I hope that this video helped somebody. If anybody, you can contact us by email if you want any more information about the trip. I'd be happy to share that too. So until our next video, bye.